Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm calling from my new offices in Asheville, North Carolina, where I relocated last week. And I'm looking forward to helping you from here with jobs locally and jobs around the country. But today we're going to talk about no BS job search advice, just as I do every Monday. Very simple, straightforward, and pointed reminders of things that you need to be doing as part of your job search. See, what I see as a recruiter is more often than not, the issue isn't the job market, which is mediocre to say the least, but more often than not, there are issues related to what job hunters do or are willing to do in their way for finding work. So I want to talk with you today about some simple things that you could be doing and also give you a metaphor for the changes that you could be making as part of your search. So let's talk, for example, let me first remind you that next week I won't be broadcasting. That's the 4th of July in the United States, and I don't broadcast on American holidays that appear on a Monday. I'll be back the following week, July 11th, with no BS job search advice. But let me go back to my thinking, which was to talk with you about job search advice from the American Revolution. Because the Founding Fathers, in the midst of all their battles, have lessons for us that we can apply today as part of job hunting. So let's talk about a couple of those. And then later on, I'll talk with you about some of the jobs I'm recruiting for at this time. So, the American Revolution, like the French one and others that preceded it, offer tremendous profiles and courage if we only take a moment to look at them. And here are a couple of them that I think really relate to job hunting. And let me start off with the realization that there comes a time. The American revolutionaries decided that enough was enough. That it was important to stand up for what they perceived as tyranny and take action. They tried to negotiate with the British, but ultimately decided that war was necessary. And as a job hunter, I'm sure before you make the decision to leave an organization, to be open to other possibilities, you've tried working with your employer to understand and just try and negotiate with them about how to improve your circumstances, to talk with them about improving your compensation or the nature of the work that you're doing. But ultimately, you're going to have to come to a decision that enough is enough and it's time to move forward. So that's lesson number one we can take from the Founding Fathers. Lesson number two is to establish principles. Once they decided that enough was enough, the American revolutionaries established core principles that since have stood the test of time, but at that time were relatively radical, as they declared war with the British. At varying points when they came to crisis, they at least had a place where they could refer back to these principles so that there would be no confusion. For you, we may not talk about principles, but we may talk in terms of outcomes that you need to have in order to know it's the right place for you to join. So establish what's going to be important to you in your next job or organization, what you'll need to see or know to understand it's the right place and job for you to work in. Third lesson from the Revolution was looking for allies. So the Continental Congress sent Benjamin Franklin to France to try and persuade the French to support the Americans. And although it took time, they ultimately sent troops and a general to help the Americans to support their own interests and in their battles with the English. So who's there to help you outside of your family? Where can you find allies to aid you with introductions as well as advice during your job search? Because frankly, if you're honest with yourself, you don't know everything you need to know in order to find work, and you don't have all the relationships that you need in order to move forward. So look for allies as part of your job search. Next lesson number 4 is there are points where you may be worried or you may be not succeeding as you had hoped to, where the job search becomes harder. And you'll discover that there are many reasons to give up and very few to stay the course. And especially in difficult times, when you're facing strong competition from many different sources, it's going to be easy to give up and hard to persist. But I want to remind you to remember your reasons for job hunting, and do not surrender your principles for expedience. Do not just try and take a convenient course. Final lesson I want to offer you today from them is real simple. Like Benedict Arnold, you may have friends or colleagues who will sell you short and try and persuade you to stay with the terrible conditions you may have or the mediocre conditions that you have now. And they're going to be like wolves in sheep's clothing. And they'll make a strong case for surrender by manipulating facts into how you need to have a more nuanced thinking about things. And they're going to count on the fact that time has elapsed